Let's be honest, not every high NBA pick is going to be successful in the NBA. Some players will fall flat and never live up to expectations of their high draft pick. Others will have great all-star careers. But the word bust is thrown around so much, many people don't understand how to judge these young players. Many people don't understand what makes an NBA player a bust, or what players would even qualify. So in this series, we break down some young players' games and take a look at the players from the 2015 draft that are most likely to be busts, why, and the players that should have been picked ahead of them. Number 1. Mario Hezonja. With the 5th overall pick in the 2015 draft, the Orlando Magic selected Mario Hezonja. Before getting drafted, many people had not heard of Hezonja. That was because this native of Croatia played 3 years for a Spanish club, Barcelona, from 2012 to 2015. Before then, he was named Most Valuable Player for the 2011 FIBA European Under-16 Championship, after leading his team with a double-double in the final game with 21 points, 10 rebounds, and 3 steals. Over the tournament, he averaged 20 points, 8 rebounds, and 2 assists. But back to his Barcelona career, during his 3 years, Hezonja's highest scoring average during the 2014-2015 season, where he averaged only 7 points per game. While you could say he fell out of favor with his Barcelona coaches, as he only started 3 games in his 38-game career at Barcelona, therefore didn't produce as well, breaking down Hezonja's game, he is a 6'7" guard who over 75% of his total shots were jumpers. While he does have some athleticism, he is not really a playmaker, creating for other players, therefore many times forced into bad or contested shots. Many would expect a high draft pick like this to dominate in this league that has very few professional basketball players. Yet the Magic ignored all these signs and drafted him early. Now let's look at his early NBA career. Let's excuse his rookie season where he averaged 6 points per game, shot 35% from 3, and 43% from the field. He did have a couple of good games scoring his rookie season, with 21 points over the Chicago Bulls and 19 points versus the Bucks. But so far in the 2016 season, he is shooting less than 20% from 3 and 33% from the field. He was picked over players like Emmanuel Mudiay, Justice Winslow, and Devin Booker, who all had better stats in college and in the beginning of his NBA career. Lastly, let's look at the organization for which he was drafted by, the Magic. Recently, the organization has made some moves that are very questionable to say the least. They traded Oladipo, arguably their best young player, for Serge Ibaka, and signed a backup center, Bismack Biyombo, to a huge contract when they already had Vucevic and Aaron Gordon on the roster. The Magic simply have too many bigs on the floor that can't stretch the floor to hit perimeter shots. Hezonja will be looked upon more as an outside shooting option, for which he hasn't proven yet that he can do. The more the time passes, the more he will fail to live up to expectations, and it is doubtful that he will become an elite player or even an all-star. Number 2. Willie Cauley-Stein, Sacramento Kings. Willie Cauley-Stein was drafted with the 6th overall pick in the 2015 draft. Standing at 7 foot, this was a very questionable pick for the Kings, as they already had their franchise center in DeMarcus Cousins on the roster, and 3 other players that could qualify as a center on the roster. Stein spent 3 years at Kentucky, where he was never seen as a dominant center on the team. He never averaged more than 8 points or 8 rebounds per game in college, and was highly inconsistent. Breaking down Stein's game, he was mostly a defensive-minded center. He has many offensive limitations. He has little to no go-to post move that he can hit consistently, and many times struggles at the rim, not being able to take advantage of smaller defenders on him. And at 7 foot, he needs to take advantage of these mismatches. He averaged 7 points and 5 rebounds in his rookie season, and with the Kings still struggling, the organization will soon look to move Stein. Look for him to move to 2 or 3 different teams during his NBA career, becoming a defensive presence but never really becoming an elite center in the NBA. Number 3. Stanley Johnson, Detroit Pistons. With the 8th overall pick, the Detroit Pistons selected Stanley Johnson. This freshman out of Arizona started all 38 games with the Wildcats and averaged 13 points, 6 rebounds, and 2 assists as a 6'7" wing player. Many scouts believed he had the ability to be a two-way player. While Johnson did have the wingspan to be an NBA forward, during college he was often seen as a poor decision-making, forcing his way into the paint for bad shots. One of his major weaknesses during college was playmaking and shooting. Many times the ball stopped in his hands and the defense was able to force him into a bad shot or a turnover. Let's look at his rookie season in the NBA. He averaged 8 points per game on 37% shooting from the field and 30% from the three. So far during his sophomore season, he is doing even worse shooting the ball, averaging 39% from the floor and 33% from three, with averages of 4 points per game through 9 games. With this poor shooting, defenders are more prone to leave Johnson open for three. Johnson will be seen as mostly a defensive player during his career. While you have seen defensive-minded players be successful in the NBA, they tend not to have all-star careers. With the addition of Johnson being picked over players like Miles Turner and Devin Booker, things are not looking good for this pick. Number 4. Cameron Payne, Oklahoma City Thunder. With the 14th pick, the Oklahoma City Thunder selected Cameron Payne. Payne played at Murray State, where he spent 2 years. He averaged 16 points per game during his freshman season and 20 points per game during his sophomore season. Many scouts couldn't figure out if Payne scored so much because of the weak competition he played against, or could he really be an elite scoring point guard in the NBA. The problem with Payne is that he is 6'3". Payne is seen as a smaller guard in the league who is not very explosive and will have trouble finishing at the rim, and has a slow, unique shooting release that many times requires him to be wide open to make. He was seen to be a backup to Russell Westbrook, a change-of-pace scoring option off the bench. During his rookie season, he averaged 5 points per game and played even worse during the playoffs, averaging 2 points per game on 26% shooting from the field and 20% from three. So far during the 2016 season, we have yet to see Cameron play due to injury. This pick may have not been that bad, but the Thunder could have selected Tyus Jones, a player who was picked 24th, scored less during college, but played against stronger competition and was a starting point guard for the national championship team, and was an MVP in the Summer League Championship, yet fighting for a spot on the Timberwolves roster. This would have been a way better pick for the Thunder. Number 5. Trey Lyles, Utah Jazz. Trey Lyles is mostly on this list because he did not live up to his high-profile high school career. While Trey Lyles was a 5-star recruit coming out of high school, averaging 23 points and 12 rebounds during his high school career, he would join a stacked Kentucky team that had Karl Anthony Towns, Willie Cauley-Stein, and Devin Booker. During his 1-year career at Kentucky, he averaged 8 points per game, 5 rebounds on 48% shooting from the field, and 13% from three. Trey was a victim of coming out of college too early, as he still needed to develop his game more before coming into the NBA. With big men Derek Favors and Rudy Gobert already locked in at the power forward and center positions, the Jazz could really use a big man that could stretch the floor and hit perimeter shots. And Trey just hasn't shown that he can do this consistently. He shot 38% from three during his rookie season and 43% from the field. In the early 2016 season, he has done worse, shooting 31% from the field and 24% from three. He is a streaky shooter at best, and Devin Booker was picked right after Trey Lyles. The Utah Jazz could have really used his shooting. And these are the 5 players from the 2015 draft that will be busts. Who else will be a bust in the 2015 draft? Leave it in the comment section below. But until then, it's been your boy, Johnny Walker LA, and I'm out. Bow.